Good morning, everybody. Hope you are doing well. It's January 17th. Unbelievable. And today I'm going to do a session with just brand deal Q&A. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. So I just want to go live, a little impromptu. So it's good to see you. Feel free to say hello in a chat near you so I know where you're watching from, or I know that you are watching. So really appreciate you jumping on. And I get a lot of questions about this topic of, what is it? Because I say this term all the time, brand deal. I'm always talking about brand deals. I'm always talking about working with companies and doing videos for companies and leveraging platforms such as the Amazon Influencer platform, TikTok, YouTube, social media, to work closely with brands to do a brand deal. Also in the podcast space, I have worked with companies over on that in that space too to do sponsorship deals. And so I get a lot of questions, and I want to kind of do just a little Q&A of some questions I've gathered over probably the top 10 questions I bet I get asked about securing these types of deals and how to scale this type of business. Now, if you have seen any of my lives, I do have a mastermind group where I really go into depth about this and really teach different strategies and come up with different ideas. And because there's a lot of context behind getting business and creating a business. And I always come at this of like, I'm an entrepreneur first, I'm a content creator second, then what's the strategy from there? I know a lot of people get into content creation and then it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually working. Like, now how do I do a brand deal? Now how do I get paid? Or this is a lot of work. How do I figure that out? So just wanted to jump on here real quick and kind of talk through some of these questions. I got this new fancy little teleprompter, so I'm actually going to switch over here and bring the questions in over my face and be able to continue to look at the screen. Anyway, it's a little nerdy thing I'm working on here. So my first thing that I always get asked, or one of the questions I always get asked, is how do I find brands interested in sponsoring my content? And what I think about this is, one, I think you really have to look at your brand first. And what do you plan on doing? What do you want to do? So, and this is different for everybody because we're all at different levels, different stages. Our content's a little bit different. And so I'll give you some examples of when I was doing my saltwater fishing show. I was saltwater fishing on the coast of North Carolina. It's a very, very hyper niche. There's not a whole lot of wiggle room. And what do we talk about? Like, this is what we talk about. Fish migrate up the coast of North Carolina or up the east coast of the United States. That's what we talk about. If it doesn't live in the salt, we don't talk about it. And so that was a really niche down market that I was very comfortable of finding the people to want to be interested in that, because I knew the niche, I knew the target, I knew the audience we were going after. And so therefore I could go find brands that really match that world. And I could, go and put together a pitch, so to speak, for that particular model. And Sheely, good morning. I see you there. Oh, let me fix this. My comments are all over the place. So let me see what this looks like. Here we go. Yeah, good morning to you from Virginia. All right, cool. Yeah, and let me know where you're watching from. Virginia, what part of Virginia? Maybe I'm asking too many questions for the internet. But I used to live south of West Virginia, in Northeast Tennessee, Southwest Virginia. So first of all, I think what you have to do is you got to look at your brand first before you start looking at other people's brands. So look at your brand, look at your entire ecosystem as a content creator, and what do you have to offer? Is it one platform that you want to get sponsored? Is it two platforms? Are you a YouTuber and a podcaster, or do you do videos on Amazon or TikTok? Like, what are you offering, and what do you have, and what is the messaging, and what niche are you kind of targeting and going after? I think this is kind of step one, is to really self-evaluate and figure out, as a content creator, what value do I even have to bring? Like, before I go ask somebody to bring value to me, what value can I bring to them? And so this is the first thing I believe you have to do is really look at your strategy, your style, your content right now. And then once you do that, and I'm going to keep this in the saltwater fishing space just because it's hyper niche and it's really easy to talk about. So once you do that, then you got to figure out what these companies want. And it's not always viewers, it's not always subscribers, it's not always the thing that you assume it is or that you read the blog that the blog told you it was. It's not always those things. And I'll be the first to tell you, I've monetized almost every piece of content I've put on the internet since 2020, and not, or majority, I'll say majority, I won't say every, because there's a lot there's a lot that I have put out there that doesn't get paid, but a lot of content I've had monetized. And I'm not a big creator. Like, go look around on any platform I have. I don't have a huge audience. I don't have this huge, cult-like following, and so, but I'm still able to work with brands and work with sponsors. So look at your whole entire ecosystem and go, okay, what can we put together here? What does this look like? What is my main message, and who is listening to my message? Who is my audience? Is what you want to find out. Is that the saltwater fishermen? Is that, people who like hair and makeup? Is that, mental health? Is that men, like that like to hunt or whatever? It's like, find out who's listening to your stuff, or who are you creating content for? That's a better question, honestly. It's like, do you even know who you're creating content for, or are you just creating content and putting it out in the universe and hoping somebody will come and listen to it? So first of all, figure that out. Now, you might not have a super niche audience, so you may have to look at your content or in your analytics and go, okay, well, I have kind of this broad spectrum of content, but now I need to niche it down. I need to pull a niche out of it. So maybe you not created it to be nichey, but you need a niche to go find a potential brand to work with you to cater to, whatever. So that might be demographic, age demographic, location demographic. If you have if you got an audience of 10,000 people, and 5,000 of those or 7,000 of those people are, living in Washington, state, or Washington, D.C., then you may be able to, kind of pare down to that niche and go target people who are targeting those people in that city, that town. So that's just to give you an idea. It might be an age demographic thing, might be a gender demographic thing, to figure out, can I go pitch a different thing that's not just topical niche? Hope that makes sense. So give me a big thumbs up in the chat if that makes sense. And just got an offer for a brand deal in my email this morning. I love to hear that, Macy. Congratulations on getting a brand deal offer in your email. Those are always fun. And I, fortunately, at this point in my business, get a lot of those. So I always, they steal those like Christmas morning. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter if I've worked with the company several times. It doesn't matter if it's a new company I've never talked to before. I always get excited when they reach out to me. That's always fun. Sheely says, I think I'm pronouncing your name right. Maybe not. Originally from Virginia Beach, but now in a teeny tiny town out in the country. It was 16 acres. Hey, that doesn't sound too bad to me. It sounds like paradise. All right, cool. So first things first is, in the question I'm answering, and I know I'm being long-winded, but there's a lot of context to this game, and it's never just this size is going to fit all. But how do I find brands interested in my content? You got to find out who is interested in your content, who is working, listening to your stuff, watching your stuff, and do you have a niche? Can you pull out a niche? And then the thing that I always think about is when early on, I would make a list of brands that I think would really, really be a good fit for my niche. So in my case, saltwater fishing on the coast of North Carolina, who's catering to those people? Who are those people? If my audience walked into a business or went to a .com, typed in a URL, what company is going to find the most value from these people listening or watching my stuff? And I think once you can kind of figure out who your audience is, and then you put together what I call a wish list. Now I call it a wish list. I used to call it a kill list. People said that was too aggressive, but I call it my wish list of top 20 brands that I want to work with, right? So, who do I feel like would be a really good fit for this audience. Now, what you don't want to necessarily do is necessarily go, well, I talked to an audience and it's got 20 to 40-year-olds who like to play basketball, so now I'm just going to go to Nike and, and start trying to get a Nike brand deal. Now, I think shoot your shot. I think go for it. The answer is always no if you don't ask. So go ahead and shoot your shot. But maybe you want to start off with a smaller, more independent brand or whatever. Just get your feet wet in the brand deal space to understand how this works. So that's what I would do. First of all, it's kind of either, you know who your niche is, you know who you're targeting, and you can start going that way, or kind of slice out of your world a niche that you could go and target. So that's the first thing I do, and I make a wish list of all those people. And then I figure out, how do I reach out to those people, right? And this is the next question I always get is like, okay, cool, well, I did that. Now what? Well, now comes into networking. So if you're already in a particular industry and you're already in a particular niche, you probably know people that already are in that space. Maybe you shop at their store. Maybe you go on their .com and buy stuff. You already have a pretty good idea of who those people are or somebody in that industry. So start now. You've made this list of contacts. So in the saltwater fishing world, I said, Marine Warehouse, they're a local boat dealership. I really love them. I've worked with them in the past. Maybe it's somebody you worked with in the past. Maybe it's somebody who, you've crossed paths with, that you connected with, that sells whatever that would go with your niche. Put the companies on a list. And then make another list and go, okay, who do I know in the industry? Who do I know in the fishing space? Who do I know that might know someone in the fishing space? Because it's always going to be a lot easier to find and reach out to people you have a connection to. If that's, 1 to 2 degree connection or whatever, thinking about the LinkedIn model, I always think about that, is like, do you know somebody that can make this not a cold outreach, but can make this a warm kind of outreach that way? So that's a couple things that I always think about, is who do I want to work with? Who do I know in the industry? Who can I reach out to that could get me in touch with those people? Now, you might just go to LinkedIn and go find their company, go to the people, their positions, marketing, whatever, and see who's connected to them that you're connected to. If that shows, maybe find them on Facebook, a friends list, things like that. Sorry, I did a bunch of clothing videos earlier. Now the pile is falling down. So one thing that I always do when I'm trying to find I'm getting way too deep here. So anyway, if that's helpful, let me know. I'll jump to the next question because I will go all in on how to find these people and how to reach out to them, especially when it comes to sponsorship deals, all that kind of stuff. So, hey, here's Pinnacle AI. What is up, Pinnacle? Good to see you. I love Pinnacle. I use Pinnacle AI. A little shout out to them. This is my CRM company. Much more than CRM, but it does CRM. It does all my web stuff, my community, my mastermind group. I mean, everything you can possibly think of, my email marketing, all this stuff I have with my guys over at Pinnacle, with Charles and the team, and they keep me alive. Somebody who sucks at admin, they keep me on task. They keep me moving the needle and organizing deals and doing over 100 deals a month. Right now, I am need organization. So these guys do it. I give them a big shout out. They keep my brain together. All right, let's see who else is over here in the chat real quick. Anthony Moses. Man, I was just thinking about you. Well, Anthony, here I am. What questions do you have? Let me know. If you have a question for me, I'm just answering questions that I've kind of just taken down over the years that I get asked a lot, and just answering a couple of those. But if you have a question, put Q:, and then write your question out. And that way I can mark it and be able to answer that question for you. All right, cool. Macy Free says, can you tell all your secrets? Or you can tell all your secrets. I don't mind. I really don't have any. I mean, this is the funniest part about this space, is like, I've said all this stuff publicly. Like I have recorded podcast episodes about all this stuff. I have done workshops about all this stuff. I've done free workshops about all these things. And so it's really not a secret. There's really no secret. The secret is it's work. That's the secret. Everyone thinks there's like this big easy button and you just push it. And trust me, I wish if there's a big red just button that I push and cash falls out of the sky, I would be the first in line. Trust me, I'd be fighting you to get to that button. But there's really not. I think it takes a system. It takes organization. It takes thinking outside of the box, especially if you're like me and you have a smaller audience. You don't have a big leverage thing that you can leverage. You have to think a little bit differently and think outside the box and get around people who do the same. And that's why I built the Deal Makers community, was because I wanted people to be able to come in, mastermind, think about stuff differently, and help each other get to where they wanted to be. So that is one of the things that I think is like, I kind of do the Gary Vaynerchuk model, the Gary V. I'm Billy T. I was making that joke with somebody earlier. And I just give all this stuff out. And then if you want my direct help, if you want my exact strategy, if you want behind the scenes what I do, then yeah, you got to come be a part of my world, be a part of my group. Just because the bandwidth is more organized, because I'm a very systematic person in there as it goes. So Pinnacle says regular job is 9 to 5, entrepreneurship is 24/7. Yeah, that's right. I never stop thinking about it, even if I'm not here. It's always on my mind, but I'm like a weirdo and love it. Okay, this is a big comment. Let's see. I cannot see that on the screen. I'm actually just going to take that off of there and read it here on the side. It says, I've been in the Amazon Influencer Program since May 2023, and I've got a few brand deals in place, but the first one I started with is a big brand, and I get about 20 free products a month from them. But when I first started, I didn't know how to ask for money for the videos. So I'm only getting the free products, no compensation for the videos. I do sell the items after I make the video, so I get money that way, then commissions for on-site and off-site. Should I ask for money now, over a year later? I don't want to burn any bridges. The products are awesome, but I do put a lot of effort into making the videos. It's one of those things where my question is, like, if you're only working with one brand, I feel like that's a mistake. I think that's the same thing as like saying, hey, I'm just a TikTok creator and I only make videos on TikTok and only rely on a creator fund to pay me. I think that's, stupid. If I'm just being honest, it's like one of the dumbest things. It's a side hustle. It's not a business model, and it's dumb. And I can say that because I've done that. I've relied on one particular type of industry, one particular type of niche in a t-shirt printing business that I had, and I lost. No one saw it coming. A lot of people lost during the pandemic, but I could not recover. I did not diversify. I was working with people with big audiences in these big events. I didn't care about e-commerce. I didn't work with any e-commerce sellers. I didn't try to start any e-commerce stores of my own, and I ate it hard. I did not diversify my income. So first of all, I would say go get more brand deals from different people. Okay, so don't just rely on one brand, one relationship, because they could change their model, right? It's just like, this is a reason why I don't rely on the Amazon Influencer Program. Sure, do I make money off of it? 100%. But do I go all in and go spend all this time researching products and seeing what the sell-through rate is and doing all that? No, because it's just maybe money, and I think the more you diversify, so I would just say, if you love the product, if you already have a system, one, figure out how to make the videos faster. If you're doing free videos, I make money out of my workflow. I don't make money because I'm great at selling high ticket deals. I don't make money because I'm even great at doing deals. I make money because I have a workflow that allows me to make money at a $5 price point. So when I started in this business, all these companies were out there, and I was just trying to get deals, and I was like, dude, I'll do it for $5. I'll do them for free, because I had that same thought, like, well, I'll just sell the product to make money. And so, I started just doing all these videos for like $5, $10, $15, and now my price is 10x that. But at first, I was like, well, probably not 10x, but it's probably double, triple, quadruple, whatever. But at first, I was like, I got to build a system. I have to build this system. And so that's why I did this. That's why I built this studio. That's why I have this camera here. I got this camera here. So I can quickly, pick up this remote and go, okay, guys, today we're going to be talking about this remote for my RGB light. The company did send it over. They compensated me to make this video. And this thing is amazing. Let's take an up close look at it. So it's got all these buttons. It's got the timer, blah, 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 the flash, this button, that button, yada, yada, yada. All right, awesome. Well, this will work for your light too. Hope this video helps. Done. Video's done. I hit end. I trim the ends. I upload it to Amazon. I'm finished. I did 14 brand deal videos in the last 45 minutes before starting this episode at $20 a piece. Do the math in 45 minutes. It's not Jeff Bezos' money, but it's like, cool. I just made a couple $100. Wait, $280 or whatever it is in 45 minutes. That's how you make money with the low ticket, high frequency, brand deal operation, especially when you're doing these product demo videos, shoppable videos in the Asian market where the budget is pretty low. But you can push back. I mean, you can ask them for money. It never hurts. What are they going to say? No. It's not like it's transactional. It's very especially if it's a company, a marketing agency in China, I can tell you right now, it's very transactional. It's just like if they can, they will. If they can't, they won't. And I'm the same way. And as soon as you take your feelings out of it, you're going to have a way better fun time. And it's just going to be, hey, I want to give you this free toenail clipper, in exchange for a video, and I want to own the video, and I want all these requirements for the video, and You're just going to go no, and you're just going to move on, and you're not going to care. You're not going to be offended. It's not like somebody peed in your Cheerios. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And I think a lot of people get in their head and think that these brand deals, especially in some of these different markets, which I have a whole thing I'll talk about in a second, but it's not that serious. It's like their marketing company or their marketing department. They're trying to get content out there quickly. Quality content quickly is kind of the name of the game for these guys. Dang, Billy, tell them how you really feel. I don't play any punches. I don't pull any punches, man. But that's just the reality of it. It's like, dude, if you were, if you're on the highway about to get smashed by a semi truck, I would want the most aggressive person that would just. I'd rather take a broken rib than I would just a smashed up body. It's like, dude, please, somebody, the most aggressive person, get in my grill about this stuff. So, I think that is one of the things that I would definitely, think about in that situation is. Don't rely on one stream of revenue. Don't rely on one brand. Don't rely on one platform. Diversify your income, because you will lose if you only get into one spot. I mean, I tell people all the time, it's like you don't walk into Walmart and they get a pedestal with one product. It just doesn't happen. You don't walk into Walmart and every product is made by the same company. It doesn't happen. It's like they diversify their income all the time. So I think that's what we have to do, and it's tough to do. I realize it's not easy, but start with one, scale it, add another one, scale it, add another one, and just like that. So anyway, I mean, I say just like that. It's not that easy. I get it. I mean, I'm the first person to tell you it's not that hard. That it's hard. All right. Are you familiar with Affiliate Reel? Never heard of it. And I don't really do affiliate marketing a ton. And this is where I miss out on a lot of opportunities to create passive revenue, is because I'm so busy doing the brand deals. I did 108 last year on average per month. And I realized I got to have a system in place to take the same content, repurpose it, pepper it all over, and bring in offsite traffic. So I don't really do that great of a job at affiliate marketing. I'm the first to admit it. I've been admitting it for like a couple of years. So that is one thing that I would definitely say is a good opportunity. If you're already creating the content, just put it out there. But I'm working on a system. I'm figuring it out. Eventually, I will get that done. So let's see, what else is there? What other questions? If you have a question, just put Q: and put the question. That way I know. I mean, it's not like we got 1,000 people watching, so I can keep up with them. But how do you find brand deals interested in your sponsored content? I answered that. The number 2 question here that I get a lot is, what's the best way to pitch myself to brands for sponsorships? And I kind of love this. Let's see. Anthony says, that's my goal. I haven't built the complete system yet. And it takes time. I think it took me time. It took me probably 3 months before, it probably took me a year before I got really serious and invested into software. It probably took me 3 months to really just like figure out, like, I need a system. And then once you figure out what you're doing, but you don't know until you're doing it. And everybody's journey is different. You could come to the mastermind group and I could tell you the whole system that I have, but until you kind of build that and know kind of how to navigate each piece, it's a little bit tough just to go, oh yeah, well here, this is a one size fits all, because it's really not. So the best way to pitch for your brand sponsorships. And once again, all this is different. I think like a YouTube strategy is different. I think a podcast strategy is different. Amazon influencer program is much different. For those types of, or product videos, shoppable videos is much different. I'll kind of go into my sponsorship brain or my podcast sponsorship brain. Because one thing I did was I have a small audience, so I put my whole ecosystem on the line and offered multiple promotional avenues for maybe the price of one. And so that way, I went and put together, is it YouTube video? So where's your marketing going to happen? Like, we're going to put you on our YouTube video. We're going to put you on our newsletter or our email promotion. We're going to put you on our Instagram. Anywhere that video gets posted or promoted, your logo is going to be on there. Your branding is going to be on there. So when I was pitching podcast deals, that was kind of the thing that I really focused on. Was I realized we didn't have just a knock it out of the park platform that we could just promote and say, hey, pay us for this one placement. But we had to bring the entire ecosystem of what we had going on. And so we did that, and we did a pretty good job of that. And we built a media kit around it. There's a lot of strategy in building a media kit. It's like people, you got to match the hatch. You got to get in the industry, figure out how they're already sponsoring stuff, events, and get those materials and figure out what they're used to, what kind of pricing models, pricing guides that these companies are already used to reading, and create something similar. You don't want any of this friction in the sales process. And so we went as a community, style podcast, and went, hey, look, we're building this community of saltwater fishermen and women on the coast of North Carolina. We're in the early stages. We've had a little bit of success. We've had about 100, people listening and watching our show per episode or whatever. And here's what we're offering, and here's the price we're offering it. And we see, sponsor, that you are doing this event, that event, this event, that event. We would love for you to be a part of our event, which happens every single week on YouTube, on podcast players, et cetera, on Instagram, all this stuff. And so I think you really got to think outside the box and put it together. And then you got to figure out what the value proposition. And I was just on Woke by Accident podcast with Jen Washington and Sam Baza. And I shared this, which I've shared maybe the reel that they shared as well. But one of my strategies was to bake in the advertising or bake in the placement into the content. And when you do that, you are not selling a CPM rate, but you're selling a more of a higher ticket offer, especially in those early stages, for what you're going to grow into a little bit later. And so I think you have to really understand your audience, your content, your sponsorship deal, needs, your sponsors' needs, and figure that out before you pitch any brands. And I will tell you, pitching your brand as like, hey, I'm a podcaster and I need money to pay that's not going to work for you. Okay. I've heard that. I've heard people literally pitch based on their needs, not the needs of the sponsor or needs of the brand. But you're a business doing business with a business, and a part of getting a sponsorship deal is a part of their marketing package. It's like that's what they're paying for. They have a marketing budget. Figure out how the system works in the brand, in the fishing space, in the boat dealership space. I started asking a lot of questions. How do you work with podcasts? Have you ever worked with podcasts? How do you work with newspapers? How do you work with billboards? Where do you get your budget? And I learned a lot of stuff through there of, like a boat dealership. They have compensation from motor companies like Suzuki or Yamaha will actually say, oh, if our product is in that ad, we'll give you some money toward that ad. So they can get compensated from promoting, a particular brand that they sell or they offer, and not just fill the whole marketing budget on their shoulders. And so I think you have to really dig in and find these things out. to make creative suggestions. You have to look at their world, not only look at your ecosystem and what you're trying to offer and put up, but also what does their content look like? Is this something that you could offer them to promote on their, social platforms? How many times do they post? That's the question. Like, maybe you have a podcast that they sponsor, that they're a sponsor of, but then you go, hey, you know what? Let me chop up some of our content. You're in the fishing space. Let me chop up some of our content. Let you use it on your platform. That could be a package deal, right? Let me chop up the video, the promotion that we do, and you can use it on your stuff. So that could be a part of it too. Help them create content as well. So anyway, there's a lot of different ways to pitch a sponsorship deal. And, I think the real transactional mindset of like, well, I'm just going to go ask for money, they're going to give it to me, is not going to work out for you. You got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy. And you got to do what you say you're going to do and kind of show up, but bring your whole world and check out their whole world and see where those two can collide and see if you're a good fit for each other. So that would be my suggestion there. I got a couple more minutes here. I'll do a couple more of these. And we're talking a little bit blurry line because I'm more in the Amazon influencer space, but I've had a lot of success in the podcasting world selling sponsorship deals as well. So I'm kind of talking between those two things. And really, a sponsorship deal, a brand deal, it's all people doing business with people. It's all, reaching out, networking, finding those pain points, and how do I solve those pain points as a content creator, as an influencer, as a video creator, whatever title you want to give yourself. Those are the things that you really have to brainstorm ahead of time. So this says, how many views or followers do I need to start getting brand deals? I think none. I'm not going to say none, but very few compared. This was the funny thing in the podcasting space. I started researching this. I think I asked the same question in every blog, every article, every podcast episode I listened to. The magic number at that time, I don't know what it is now, but the magic number at that time was 10,000. 10,000 downloads, 10,000 views, 10,000 clicks, 10,000 impressions, whatever that was, because everyone wanted to sell a CPM model. And that is based on 1,000, like if you have a CPM, it's cost per milli. So it's cost per 1,000, whatever that is, downloads, clicks, views, subscribes, whatever they, put that as. That is kind of how people traditionally price advertising, which is totally fine. But I don't really produce, brand deals or whatever in a traditional manner. And so that's a part of that baked in ads thing that I'm talking about. It's like, I can charge you a CPM rate, but you want to invoice forever because I bake in the ad. I have evergreen content, and now I'm only charging one time for a lifetime ad. Name another advertising business that'll do that. There's not one. Newspapers have a shelf life. Billboards have a shelf life. Facebook ads have a shelf life. Instagram ads, like all these have a shelf life. The poster behind the toilet that you pee at in the men's urinal has a shelf life. Like there's an end date. But if I have evergreen content, which is, and I'll preface this little asterisk here, however I make that sign, is evergreen content. Now, if you do a daily show about, about current events, now you're going to look at a frequency model, right? You're not going to look at a overall whatever. You're just going to look at a frequency model, in my opinion, where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to show up every single day, and we're pricing this out as a frequency deal, not necessarily a more traditional sponsorship deal. But anyway. So that's what I always think about. I'm going, hey, I'm hyper niche. I'm focused on the community. I'm focused on not the number of downloads, but the number of people. I'm focused on the value of the people, the quality content, and not only the content, but the quality of the viewer, of the listener. And this happened, there was a lady who I met on Facebook, and I basically just said the same thing, maybe a little bit more put together. And she had been podcasting for 5 years. And she was like, I have 500 people listening to my show. Never thought I could ever monetize because I heard the same statistic. She said, I came into your Clubhouse room. You were talking about niche audiences, pure audiences, and how to monetize those and how to get sponsorship deals by pitching that, that community. And she said, I I took your advice and I closed a podcast deal for $1,000 per episode. She does 12 episodes a year. She had a sponsor on there for $1,000 a show with 500 people listening to her show. But what it was these organizations wanted the attention of this very hyper niche market that was very valuable to them, because she was helping, I think it was like a translation podcast about translators and the business, of translation. And these, I think it was universities, wanted people who were interested in that to come be a part of their program. So therefore, she didn't have a big audience, but she had a pure audience. She had a valuable audience and was able to go out and close these deals. And so I think when you are, gearing yourself up, especially in this world we live in of virality, it's really simple to go, well, I don't have all that. I'm not going to try. And if you don't try, the answer is always no. And so, I think you have to do a lot of work, and you got to think about it, and you got to go, okay, what is the niche audience I'm trying to offer here? So how many followers do you need? How many views? Who cares? Now, is it a lot easier? Yeah, if I had 1 million followers on YouTube. So here's my question, though. I always ask people, because people give me a hard time, because I do, and if you've heard me talk one time, you've heard me say this 1 million times. I do a low-ticket, high-frequency business model. Low-ticket, high-frequency business model. Now, I'm not doing the $1,000 to $10,000 videos, even though I can totally do that. I have the skill set to do that. I mean, look, I got quality cameras, quality gear, quality lights, 20 years experience of creating content. I can definitely go out here and create a video that's worth, and I got friends in the industry that are really super good editors that I could call right now and go, hey, I need help making a $20,000 video, and we can knock that out of the park. But what I have to do, if I'm trying to sell my audience, is I got to have a big audience. So I'm going to spend 10 years growing an audience, probably because I suck at creating content. I'm going to do 10 years of growing an audience. Then I'm going to go try to pitch that audience, which I think is just crazy to me. I'm like, get somebody on there, or I can go lower ticket and go, hey, let's start together and we'll just build this thing up as we go. And so I think that is the, the mentality that I have always had is like, I want to get paid now. I don't want to necessarily spend and I know YouTubers that make good money, but I'm like, well, how long did it take you to build your audience? Oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. So how long have you been making $100K a year? Well, just this year's my first year. I'm like, that's crazy. I've been making content for 4 years. 2 of the 4 years made over 100K. It's like, and that's crazy to me. It's like, so I think those things, are what you have to think about moving forward is what do you want to do? And for me, I don't want to go I don't want to build the audience to that many people to where a CPM model makes sense, or to where a, big brand deal video makes sense. I want to spend time with my family. I don't want to be on the phone all day being a sales guy trying to go sell a $20,000 video or a $20,000 sponsorship package. I don't want to be responsible for producing that. I want to come to my office. I want to work 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and I want to go home. And then I want to come back the next day and I want to do it again. And so I think you have to build this model the way that you want to build a business around your life, not a life around your business, a life around your business. So it's like that takes sacrifice, and it does suck when, you look over this way and you look over that way and you go, man, these people are crushing it. I should be over there. I should be over there going 8 hours a day on TikTok live selling for what? It's like, I don't enjoy that. I would, if it was my own product or my own service. I love going live. I love going live right now and doing that kind of stuff. And speaking of live selling, if you want more information about all this, go to Billy Thorpe, which is that right there, .live. So my name .live. I don't know why I pointed to that. You can't hardly read it. But BillyThorpe.live, you can watch 2 free things over there. One is the Amazon Influencer kind of workshop, how to get started, best practices to get into the program. And then 2, and people, trust me, people are going to charge you $100, $200, $300 for that information. Just go get it for free, okay? I'm sick of these gurus, like, trying to charge. I'm charging people, but I'm, like, sick of it for, like, promising you something that they can't guarantee you. It's like, oh, I'm guaranteed I can get you in. Nobody's guaranteeing you jack squat. Go watch that 28-minute video for free and just try it and get my experience from that. and go try it. So that's the first thing I'll say. I'm throwing stones today, man. I'm throwing rocks at people. But I think that's the thing that drives me crazy. So 2 workshops over there, Amazon Influencer Program, how to get in and best practices from my opinion, my experience in helping dozens of people do this already. And then also there is a live selling workshop that I just did last week that is also available for free to go watch. The main presentation of that's about 35 minutes. The Q&A session is another hour, or hour and a half or whatever. I don't even know what it was. But we had a lot of fun, a lot of good ideas, a lot of brainstorming. All right, so I had 10 questions prepared to answer. I think I answered 2 of them, and Wendy says she needs this. It just depends. I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I mean, if you want to create content for fun, I think that's good. If you want to create content for marketing, I think that's good. If you want to create content and make money, I think it's possible. And I think it's possible for a lot of us to do that. And so I know I've been doing it. People in my community have been doing it. I do have a mastermind group. So if you're like, dude, I want to, I'm in the and my thought is like, you got to have something to leverage. I leverage the Amazon Influencer Program and the access I have to that. I'll also leverage my skill set of creating content. Now, there's a lot of ways to get paid to create content that you don't have to be a part of a program. You don't have to be a part of, any of these programs, these systems or whatever. And I can help you with that too. But primarily, I focus on what I do and what I do really well and what I make a lot of money doing. And that is leveraging the access I have to the Amazon Influencer Program to work directly with those brands. And we're getting more into UGC and stuff like that, and making tutorial videos for software companies and all that stuff. And I've been paid to go live on platforms. I've been paid to create demo videos. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do in this world when it comes to content creation if you can hit go live or hit record and start using your skill set and using your talent. So a lot of good opportunity, but I got to go. I got to split. I'm going to go jump on dad duty, hang out with my little guy, and see what's up there. We're homeschooling, so he is he is just a sponge of a brain, and I think he's schooling me actually. Like there's some stuff he learns. I'm like, wait, what? What is that true? And I'm like Googling it, and he's like, yeah, it's true. I'm like, oh, it is. So anyway, I'm gonna go do that. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for jumping in. Thanks for watching. And last time, just go to billythorpe.live for more resources. There's free ones and paid ones, so go check it out. And we'll see you later. Have a great weekend.